Here on set, the papers are starting to react to Barack Obama's State of the Union address, aren't they?
That's right. There's a piece in the Washington Post by Ezra Klein today that says that was an incredibly ambitious speech. And he points out that usually candidates are more ambitious than presidents, but Obama is showing the reverse progression. And he wonders, imagine if Obama managed to pass every policy he proposed tonight. Federal minimum wage would be at $9, guns would be harder to come by, undocumented immigrants would have a path to citizenship. The United States would be a noticeably different country. He points out, however, that the Democrats don't control the House, so much of this second-term agenda probably won't pass, but at least Obama is ambitious.
Well, it was, of course, Barack Obama's State of the Union speech. The Independent takes a bit of a look at a growing movement in Texas that wants to actually leave the Union.
That's right. It's an interesting piece in the Independent today. It starts out saying, we want to be alone. We want off the sinking ship. What is it talking about? It's talking about the TNM, that's the Texas Independence Movement. It claims more than 250,000 members, and since Obama's re-election, it's registered more than 3 million hits on its website. Now, last month, the Obama administration rejected a petition for the state's secession from the U.S. And this week, actually, Texas got its first international diplomacy and its first ally in the form of Belarus. Now, this can come as quite a surprise, but basically, Belarus accused Washington of abusing human rights by rejecting Texas's call. Now, it's interesting to note that Texas was actually briefly a nation between its independence from Mexico in 1836 and the annexation by the U.S. in 1845, and it had embassies in Paris and in London. If it were to become a country, it would be the 46th largest in the world and the 15th largest economy.
OK, let's move on to something different now. The paper's reacting to North Korea's nuclear test.
That's right. In the International Herald Tribune today, David Sanger says that one of the main consequences of this test is that it seriously altered the equation in Asia, especially because of China's harsh condemnation of the test, a shift of support, rather, from Beijing to Pyongyang. And it's interesting to note that if you look at China Daily today, it's on the front page. And usually North Korea stays off the front page of China Daily. And it's on the front page of China Daily during the holiday celebration. So it's quite a surprise. And here you see it. Beijing expresses firm opposition to nuclear tests. The Japan Times also says that at this stage, the role that China plays will be very key, and it hopes that China will dissuade Pyongyang from pursuing its nuclear weapons program, rather. And also, it hopes that China will help ensure that any international sanctions against North Korea will be watertight.
Now, you've really delved through the Independent today, haven't you? Because you're going to go back to it. Taking a closer look at what the real threat is. That's
right. It asks the killer question, could Kim Jong-un launch a nuclear strike? And while the answer is yes, the significance of yesterday's test was its strength. This miniaturized nuclear device that was tested could make it possible for North Korea to strike another country. But what would that target be? Once again, the Independent helps explain a little bit more. There's an interesting graph where you see that this miniaturized device could be placed on a Nandong missile. Now, that has a range of 1,000 kilometers, and if you can see there, it's the second ring, which means it could hit Japan and China. The fear is that it would eventually be used on a Taepodong 2 missile with a range of 6,000 kilometers, which means it could hit Alaska.
Pope's still getting a lot of attention as well, isn't he?
That's right, especially the reason for his resignation, his health. There's a cartoon in the International Herald Tribune today by Shapat where you see cardinals listening to his resignation speech. One of them says, how do you translate this from Latin? The other guy says, burnout.
Very well put, I suppose. Finally, China Daily. Taking a bit of a closer look at the animal of the moment. This is the snake, of course, because it's Year of the Snake.
That's right. It's on the front page of China Daily. Great snakes. Now, you know, according to China Daily, the problem with snakes is that they have an image problem. So it takes a closer look at the legends, at the fears, at the fascination. So I know that you're a big fan of snakes, Stuart.
Love them.
You should definitely take a look at China Daily today.
Excellent. It's the Indiana Jones film that does it for me. I think it's the first one, isn't it? Florence, thanks a lot. Florence Villemot with the international papers here. Okay. Here's those news headlines. They deserve a simple vote. Barack Obama as